Hello, today there are no excuses anymore. When I did the test ID7 against Model 3, everyone complained, hey, this car was cold and the battery was cold. You can't compare this. Today we have summer, 28, 29 degrees. Both cars are warm, cold, so AC on. Both cars are charged to 80% and we're gonna make a nice long drive, not like last time. This time I have a press car from Tesla for the first time. Tesla gave me a press car for a week. I have this Model 3 long range Highland and we're gonna take a drive, I think 350 kilometers or so. We end at a supercharger, so there's no excuses for the Tesla, so it's gonna be a great drive. Stay on! Wait a minute, stop. Of course I'm aware that these two cars are very different. ID7 is longer, more space for the rear passenger, a bigger trunk, it's heavier, and the Model 3 is more powerful. It's an all-wheel drive version. You can get an ID7 as the GTX version and with all-wheel drive, and most likely it will have around 7% higher consumption. But both are on 19-inch wheels. That's amazing. ID7 has a rear wheel, the rear wheels are a bit bigger, 255 to the 235 on all four wheels for the Model 3. And another difference is the tire pressure, but the tire pressure is set to the value that the manufacturer wants for this car. So when you go out, this is how it's gonna get. Where the Model 3 had 3.1 bar in all four tires, the ID7 has 2.5. But that's how, like I said, like the manufacturer wants it. So let's get back to it and drive. I'm in the Model 3, Matthias is in the ID7, Hank. We're driving outside of Munich in direction of Nuremberg, and then we go to Regensburg where there is a Tesla supercharger. We just charged both at a supercharger to 80% and cooled the car before. We are both interior temperature 21 degrees. He's driving in comfort mode. I'm not in chill mode or anything, but we're driving the speed limit. He's behind me right now. We're gonna switch position at some point. It's all easy and cool. We're not in a rush. We don't have to drive 160, but I also want to get there on time at some point. We're gonna call a bit each other and see how everyone's doing. And I've noticed in the Model 3 the 21 degrees feel colder, and I'm guessing it's because the interior is just smaller, and in auto it's really cold, which I like. And we have seat ventilation here as well, and it works really good. Okay, the trip was a bit different. We drove to Nuremberg and then we noticed there's a big traffic jam for a long time. So we stopped, looked at our route, what else can we go? And then we drove a different way to Regensburg. On the whole way we were on the phone. I don't know his average consumption, but I know his state of charge. I can see it in the app as well. And but I'm not gonna tell now. We're gonna see at the end of the trip. It's very interesting. I'm at 30% now. We have 66 kilometers to the charger. The car says it will arrive with 18%. Navigation is amazing. I love it. It does exactly what I wanted to do and more. I finally have autopilot off. In the beginning I didn't have it on because you have to activate it at the first drive and it wasn't on. Why? It doesn't notice me that I'm here. So when I'm here pressing, it takes a long time till it notices, hey, I'm here. So it's not like in my ID7 where I can just touch it lightly and it knows, hey, I'm here, it's all fine. But I have autopilot on now. When we stopped, I turned it on. And then we'll see the whole trip. What will it be? 250, 310 kilometers, something like this. I'm pressing, I'm steering. I arrived with 15%, come on focus, there we go. Used 46 kilowatt hours, 316 kilometers driven, 146 watt hours per kilometer was my average consumption. I arrived with 18%. We're home, back in the studio. You have seen the trip data from the Model 3 and the kilometers, by the way, are spot on. It's always amazing with Tesla. I have filmed ID7 trip data as well, but it was the wrong one. We filmed the since start. It should have been since charge. And but I took a picture of it and you can see it here. And it says it's 147 watt hours per kilometer, but it also shows less kilometers driven. So the average consumption is wrong. The real number is 146.1. So those two cars have the exact same consumption that they show in the car. The important thing is we charge them back up to 80% and see what the real kilowatt hours are when you charge them back up. Who's better? But let's look at the trip data here. I put Model 3 here and the ID7 here, so you can see all the tire sizes and the trip, what the trip showed, average consumption, and then the range from 10 to 80%, what you usually drive. And as you can see, of course, ID7 has more range since it arrived with 18% and the Model 3 arrived with 15%. And that's not because of the consumption, it's the difference in battery size. Available battery capacity for driving. And the drive overall was very hot that day, a lot of AC, and we drove 130, 140 when we could. If not, we drove the speed limit. We were a lot in traffic jams and slow driving. It just happens. It's fine. But now to the big problem with charging. I wanted to charge at a supercharger at the end, so Tesla people cannot complain, hey, if you charge at a supercharger it's more efficient or something. I have no idea if this is the case. I just wanted to do that. And we charged the ID7 with the app on the supercharger and it showed us at the end 52 kilowatt hours charged and dead on. And so it's not an accurate number. I'm not happy about that. I would love to see 52.476 kilowatt hours. So it could be 51.7 kilowatt hours. I have no idea, or 52.1, which I don't think so. I don't think that Tesla is giving you kilowatt hours for free. That's a bit sad. And the other problem was I charged the Model 3 at that supercharger, but then another Tesla came and charged at the other, and we were at a version 2, so the power got shared. I moved over to a different one and charged on, and this would be okay. The problem is, this is a press car. I had the press account for to connect the app to the car, and that account didn't work right because I could never see with what my charging history. It never showed how many kilowatt hours did you charge. So now I have no idea how many kilowatt hours the Model 3 charged on that day. I came back another day, charged again from 15 to 80%, asked Tesla how many kilowatt hours I got from the supercharger, but they couldn't tell me. So I don't know that. And so I charged at Ionity, and when I look at the charging curve, the kilowatt hours charged from 15 to 80%, it's 54 kilowatt hours. And I just looked, ID7 at Ionity charges from 18 to 80%, 51.811 kilowatt hours. So that's pretty accurate to the 52 that the supercharger says, and I don't think it's more efficient. Maybe when you charge with 190 kilowatt, the cooling has to do more in the summer, and then you have a bit more because of that, but that's it. Yeah, even in the winter when you do 190 kilowatt, I think the battery has to be cooled, especially after a drive with 130 where I did the charging test, where I just got the data from the ID.7. So I think it's 52 kilowatt hours for the ID.7 and 54 kilowatt hours for the Model 3. So it had a higher consumption when you charge it back up. And if I take the average consumption including charging loss at a high power charger for these two cars, I get for the Model 3 170.9 watt hours per kilometer, and for the ID.7 164.6 watt hours per kilometer. So still the ID.7 is more efficient on a drive like this, the same that it was in the winter. But again, yes, it's a bigger car and heavier, but it's also just rear wheel drive. With 7% higher consumption, the Model 3 would be more efficient here. And that's totally okay. It was a fun drive. It was nice to see the difference. And it's nice to see that Tesla has competitors that are as efficient as they are. It's very sad that I cannot get a Model 3 with just rear-wheel drive in Germany. I can get a Model Y with just rear-wheel drive, but not the Model 3. Then you can get the standard range, but it has a smaller battery. It's lighter, and we already seen in other tests that this car, Model 3 rear-wheel drive with the small battery, is more efficient than the ID.7. I did the test and I filmed it before, you can see it here. But it was a nice test, and it's nice to see how, that there are more and more very efficient cars out there for people to choose. They'll get really high range cars and they charge amazing as well. That was awesome. If you need an overview of your monthly cost for your EV, if you want to see all of your trips, your average consumption, all of your charging session, your AC to DC ratio, then Tronity is exactly what you need. You connect Tronity to your car, a lot of brands are supported, and then in the app or in the browser you can see all of this data. You can also have a 100% tax compliant driver's logbook. My viewers get 25% off if they use the link in the description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below. And here on YouTube, there's also channel membership. And maybe you want to see behind the scenes what's happening with Battery Life when I go to events, how do I make videos, what equipment do I use, then check out my third channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and take care. Bye.